Making Cooking Fires with Wet Wood, William Hovey Smith, 2013. I'm the author of Backyard Deer Hunting, and here's how we cook with wet wood.
I'm Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman, and we are out here indeed in the backyard. Except right now, we happen to be in the backyard of the Adirondack Mountains in upper New York State. Now, what I have around me is a typical conifer northern forest. Well, I mean, these things get deep and dark and very, very wet. And we have various varieties of conifers, quite unlike the pines I have in southern Georgia. These are spruce and fir of various varieties, plus hemlock, and are very much like the forest that, say, grows in many parts of the western Canadian Rockies, as well as in Alaska. Now, I have spent decades in Alaska, and I have spent years trying to get fire started when it is wet, and it's been wet. Yeah, I mean, these mountains, these Adirondacks, they catch a lot of wet, and so it is. So everything that we have here around the way of wood has been saturated typically for days or weeks. And we need to start a fire. No, well, what do? Well, one alternative is to go down to your convenience store and you buy some dry firewood. That works. Yeah. But you don't want to do that all the time. But it is useful to certainly have some dry wood to start with. Now, I had a fire last night, but you know what? They only gave me about 4 or 5 pieces of small wood. So what I'm left with are blocks this size. Fine for putting on a fire once you got it going, but no, you can't start a fire with a piece of wood like this. You got to do something else. So what did I do? I took some of the saturated pieces that were already lying around here in the forest, cut them up with trusty axe here, yeah, and then we laid them on top of the grate to sort of dry out for this morning. And I busted those up now in smaller pieces, and so we're going to use that and a few splits from our dry wood here, and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do something else that's even more significant. Laying around on the forest floor are small branches like this that have fallen. Okay. Now these have lots of pitch in them, and they will start even if they're damp to almost dripping wet. You can get these things to burn. And there are also fallen branches whose shape has kept them out of the wet. At least it kept them off the leaf litter. So these are not quite so wet as the stuff that's lying down. So we're going to bust these up into smaller pieces. And we're also going to use these as fire starter, as I'll show you a little later. Now this wood is naturally very springy, like this. So it's difficult to fold over and have it stay folded. So you take your little camp axe, like I've got here, and you just chop it up into smaller pieces. Say about 6, 8-inch pieces. See, this goes very fast. This gives you a bunch of little small and highly combustible material that you can really wad up in a tight package now. You get a piece of flame started on any of this, and that will go. All right? Same thing with larger sticks. Now these you want to go more or less across the grate itself. So just one chop, crunch. You want them so they're flat, so they lie closely together. And this way, they will have maximum exposure to flame. It'll take them less time to dry out, and you can actually get them started. Oh yeah. Do watch your fingers, by the way. This axe will very easily take a finger off. Got that one? All right. Okay. Let's go to the place where we're going to have some fire. And now you see more closely the issue at hand. Now this is a typical grate that's used in all Forest Service places and by the state of New York, and variations of this you'll find all over the country. But it has a swinging grate down here that you can actually put all fry pans on and cook and other stuff. And we'll actually do some cooking on this later. But, okay, now you see where I've got my raw material like this piled under here. I have some splits of the dry wood up here, but just a few. And I'm going to put these twigs I just cut right on top of here. All right, roast it and start out. And since we got it, we're just going to add this other little material up there to it too. We got it, we might as well use it. Now we're going to start it off with a piece of dry paper toweling. You could use, of course, any paper, but most campers would have some paper toweling along it. And you want to fold it loosely. You don't want to wad it up in a tight knot. And you take it and you put it absolutely under the bottom of everything you can get. So raise the whole pile up, put it on the bottom, make it as loose as you can get it. Then, we have our trusty match here. And we'll see if we can get a one match start. Maybe lucky, maybe not. But this is something, if you try and don't succeed, you just try and try again. All right. Here's stuff combusting. I smell spruce. I smell it starting to take. Yeah, this stuff is catching down there. It's working. There it goes. Whoa, whoa, come on. Come on, guy. Now you see all that steam coming up. Most of that is actually water vapor coming out of all this wet wood. But you see what I'm talking about when I say the spruce? Yeah, it can be all practically dripping wet, and you can still get it to combust. So now we can actually start putting very carefully a few of the larger pieces on. Well, come on, guy. I don't want to overdo it, though, because you can smother it. Snap, crackle, and pop. Yes, sir. Doing it. Incidentally, that's where that phrase originally came from. It wasn't from a cereal advertisement. It was from making fire. Now, I'm going too fast. I'm going at the risk of smothering the fire, so I'm going to prop it up at this end a little bit. Give it some air. There, that's doing better now. Well, here you have the end result. Now, this is not the best looking cooking fire you ever had, but you now have flames and you now have a good bed of coals. So you can take your big, huge chunks of dry wood that you could not get started before, and now they will indeed catch, and you will have you a good fire for cooking, warmth, and general good things. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
Here is what the campfire looks like when it's actually being cooked on. I am the author of Backyard Deer Hunting and Extreme Muzzleloading, and also Crossbow Hunting and Practical Bow Fishing, and all of these are available as softcover and ebooks. I also have an 8-book ebook series on muzzleloaders coming out, including building or restoring your own muzzleloader. To prevent the spread of invasive insect species in the United States, use only local wood for your campfires. For more information on my books, blogs, and videos, go to my website at www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.